This is CHSR 97.9 FM here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, and you're listening to Python's Paradise, your film and music show. And folks, this is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, I have a wonderful guest on here today. Not only is she one of the original MTV VJs and presented the kind of music I grew up with. She's also in a film that's celebrating its 35th anniversary this year, Vice Squad. Yes, I'm talking about the lovely, the beautiful, and the absolutely exhilarating Nina Blackwood. How you doing, Nina?
I'm fine. I didn't even realize that it was celebrating. It was so long ago. I forget about that film. But I didn't know it was celebrating its 35th. Well, there you go. I have to ask you a question. You called yourself the what hyena? The
Python, like the snake.
Python hyena. How did you get that nickname?
You know what? I always had a thing for African wildlife. I grew up. always loved snakes. So many people hate them, but yet they are.
No, I like snakes. I like snakes.
Well, the common misconception, what people don't realize, is that snakes, they say, kill more rodents and pests than birds of prey and cats.
I believe that. And so how did you, the python hyena, because I also like hyenas.
Well, the spotted hyena, I just think, is another one of those underappreciated animals that, number one, what an interesting personality, that little snicker and laugh they have. They almost seem to be always grinning, when they're out stalking their prey. But they say that the spotted hyena would be right at home in a sewer because they eat the kind of stuff we throw away. They'll eat everything right down to the bone. They'll even eat the bone, and I guess they're able to clean up what is left behind, and
Yeah, I love animals. That's actually my passion, and I've always liked hyenas. They've fascinated me, and they're hermaphrodites as well. Which is another. They're really in a class of their own, and like you were talking about, being able to eat bone. They have some of the strongest jaws in the entire animal kingdom. They're really quite fascinating. So I had to ask. I go, that's an unusual name. So you just picked those two because they're fascinating animals to you.
Well, you know what? Getting back to the hyena, I guess for a mammal, they have the strongest jaw pressure for a mammal. Yeah. And what another thing that another big misconception, they don't necessarily scavenge. They do hunt and take down prey. I've seen just one hyena take down a wildebeest, so they're a strong animal. But
so you're an animal lover too.
Yeah, I especially like African wildlife. I've never been to Africa, but I find African wildlife fascinating, like elephants and Cape buffalo and hippopotamus, rhinoceros, and the sable antelope. Sable antelope's a gorgeous creature, and giraffes and all kinds of that stuff there in Africa. And
you need to do yourself a favor and get yourself over there.
Have you been there?
No, I had. And it's so sad because I had opportunities with this man by the name of Horst. I'm looking at this lion painting that he gave me, and this is why I'm saying what I'm saying to you, that you need to go. And he lived in South Africa. I met him through the dog world. He was a friend of my dog, the breeder of my dog, and my dogs, I should say. And he always invited me to South Africa, and his son ran like this very exclusive place down there that you can go on wildlife safaris, of course, photo safaris, not killing. And, he asked me several times, and I went, I'm not ready. I can't do it now. Maybe next year. And he died suddenly of a stroke. And it's like, yeah, it goes to show you, you need to jump on things. Very sad. So I don't know when I'll get over there. And very sad loss for all of us that he passed away.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah, because it would have been like, going on that level and knowing somebody that was there, it just would have been, what can you do? We don't have a crystal ball.
I saw a video not too long ago. An African elephant like just flipping a Range Rover over. It's like these creatures they powerful, and sometimes people are so stupid when they're out there in the wild they don't realize that an elephant's not going to move for you.
No, no, not at all, not at all. And they're so elephant. I mean, I love all animals, but elephants again are such an amazing creature in the society and their emotions, and they grieve when one of them passes away. I mean, they're just fascinating. Just a wonderful animal.
Yeah. Yep. No, I like I said, African animals I find very, very fascinating, and yeah, no, I've never
So I
been.
had to ask because that's my primary love animal. So I gotta ask him this.
Yeah, originally I was just Python, and I thought, no, I'm gonna combine the two names to make it kind of sound different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Vice Squad came out in 1982, early 1982. I would have been 10 years old in 1982. So, and a lot of great movies came out that year, and I've celebrated quite a few anniversaries this year from that year. And yeah, and I looked up Vice Squad, and I was like, I guess I saw some clips of it online. It reminded me that it's celebrating its 35th anniversary, and I was like, I wonder, if there's anybody available that I could talk to from that.
Oh, how funny!
Yeah, and I found you, and I'm going to tell you what a rough film to watch. I like the film personally because it's so real, but I need to know, was that film banned anywhere when that came out?
Not that I know of. No.
No, because I know of some films that come out. Like Class of 1984 came out here in Canada, and I know that was banned in places, and I love that film as well.
No, not. I mean, I never heard that it was banned. No, in fact, it became a cult film.
Yep.
Which is so weird.
Yeah. Well, how did you go about getting the part? You, of course, played the victim of this pimp Ramrod.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this was actually before MTV. In fact, I had to finish. I had gotten. So I guess I don't know what it must have been. 80 maybe that I did the film because MTV started in August of '81, and I was still finishing the looping for it, So anyway, well, I was out it's a long story, but I was out in L.A., and among many other things that I was doing, playing my harp. I'm a harpist, and I've been a musician since a little girl, and also acting since I was young, since about 8 years old. And, basically I had an agent. An agent sent me, as you do, you go for auditions all the time. That's what you do. And they hired me. In fact, I think they had Season Hughley, but they did not have Ramrod. And so here I am, this innocent, young girl in Hollywood, first big part, so to speak. And the producers had me, after they hired me, they'd have me come down to audition. I was done with my audition, but they had the guys come in to audition for Ramrod. And what they would do, they'd have me read with them, and then have the guy throw me around the room. So I would sit out. I'd wait for each and of course they knew that I was so naive, I'd sit in the waiting room. The one guy would come in, we'd read, and then he'd throw me around the room. I'd go back out and sit. Happen again. It's like, wow, and at the time, I'm not knowing that's not kosher, and it was just, I didn't get bruised but some of them were a little rough, and I can't believe that and I look back, when I got a little wiser, and I go, those producers were probably laughing their heads off, because maybe not, but it was like, they really didn't need me there to be thrown around. But they wanted to see, I guess, how. And then, obviously, Wings Hauser did a very scary job on that. He did a very, very good job playing that character, very much so.
Yeah, Wings. I'm going to say we got that scene, of course, that, and I've heard it said, people are wondering why you would ever open the door. But here's what I'm going to say about that. It's not that it was an unintelligent move. It's that you wanted to believe him so much because you remembered when you met him and he was charming, and you wanted to believe the illusion, even though you knew probably in the back of your mind was against your better judgment to open that hotel door.
Well, she was not, she wasn't bright. She was naive. And, this is the guy that, was kind of her not really her protector, but that was the only person she really knew other than Season. She was making money from this guy. So, she looked up to him. And I have a funny story about this, and you can bleep it.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
When the film came out, I was already, like I said, in New York and working at MTV, and it was playing in a theater in New York, and our assistant and I went to see the film. So we're sitting, you know how New Yorkers are, right? And we're sitting in the theater, and it comes to that part, right? Mm-hmm. And she's going, you gonna beat me, and there's a guy with a New York accent, in the back of the theater going, "Don't open the door, asshole." It's like so funny, and I just kind of slung down in my seat because they didn't know, that I was there, and it was just it was so. It couldn't have been a better way to watch that film, so that was kind of funny. And of course she does.
Yeah, I gotta say, Wings Hauser was. I don't understand why his career didn't take off bigger than it did.
I don't know, because I really was out. Like I said, I was really out of that whole scene before it was even released. I moved from LA to New York, and MTV completely, took over, my entire life. So I don't know what happened with his career. I was in touch with Season for a little while, because she and I kind of became friends. But even that, it was hard to, it was before social media, so, we don't really, and I really wasn't close to Wings, because to be quite honest, because he did his character so well, I didn't like being around him when between takes. He wasn't like that in person, but he was so into his character. It was like, yeah, this guy kind of, which is good, because that was the point of the character. Yeah, I don't know what happened to him. I think he has a son, though, if I'm not mistaken.
He does. He was in the movie Paparazzi.
What is he?
He was in that movie Paparazzi that was produced. Yeah.
I just remember kind of knowing that he had a son that went into acting, but that's really all I know. I have no idea what happened with his career.
I think his son's name's Cole Hauser, I think it is.
Cole.
Yep.
That's it. That's exactly what it is. Cole. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you, Wings, like that scene, like you called Season Hibley, and and she told you, stay put, don't open the door. And you're sitting there shaking. You said you had left Ramrod, who, of course, is a very aggressive, violent pimp. And, of course, he comes, he knocks on your door, and he sweet talks and charms you into opening that door. And when he busts in, he grabs your hair and he goes, I can't believe how stupid you are, and that regret, you're in trouble. And of course, he ends up in a later take, seeing the movie, he has you bound and gagged to the bed. And of course, pulling a little Joan Crawford work on you with coat hanger.
Yeah.
Yeah, the coat hanger. How intense was that scene to shoot?
Well, he actually was choking me. I don't think he meant to, but, the gasping I was doing, that was actually me really gasping. Yeah, so it was pretty intense. Yeah, it was intense. And we shot it in in a real motel that was actually used for those purposes. Not for the film, but I mean, in real life,
okay.
It was a place that hookers took their johns on. I think it was either on Sunset. It's so long ago, I can't remember if it was Sunset or Hollywood Boulevard, but it was in Hollywood, and a real sleazy place. So, that didn't hurt the effect. You're in this sleazy room, and here this guy, is throwing you around, and yeah, it was realistic. That was one of the things that I did, and again, like I said, I was just starting out in Hollywood, so to speak. That was the thing about that film, and I think that's why it became a cult favorite. Because it was very realistic. I mean, it really was. So that's about it.
And of course, things don't end very well with your character.
No.
What was it like in the makeup chair? Because obviously they had to do a little makeup job on you to show your abuse.
Yeah. I don't remember it being that weird. Again, it was so long ago, but another part that was weird is having to stay dead on the gurney. That was kind of, I'm such a hyper little person. That was actually a struggle. Believe it or not, that was because I kept wanting to, I had to be perfectly still and not breathe and just be dead. And that I found actually harder than anything else, not to move.
Yeah. Well, Wings Hauser, of course, playing Ramrod. Ramrod, quite the character. So lethal. Like, there's a scene in the movie where, he grabs somebody's truck, and this guy's dropping off newspapers or whatnot, and he just grabs and flips him down into this gully area, and you just see guy laying there, and he takes his truck. I mean, Ramrod had no conscience whatsoever.
Yeah, he was a pretty bad guy.
Yeah, but I gotta say, Wings Hauser played him so perfectly,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and of course, you mentioned Susan Hibley, and I actually
was really good in that.
Yeah, I tried to find her for an interview, but I couldn't find anything online for her. But
I think she's on Facebook.
Is she on Facebook?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember. I mean, it was a long time ago, but I think we exchanged like a hello through Facebook, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure, or maybe it was LinkedIn, but check Facebook, because I think she's, and I don't know what's happened to Susan. I don't know where she is, but Susan was actually a good actress. She really was.
She had a bit part in Escape from New York, of course, the year before. You see her just momentarily there with Kurt Russell before the people come up through the floors there after she asked for the light, and she goes down into the floor. And that was the first time I seen her. And then, of course, she's in Vice Squad. And, of course, she plays the... I don't like to use the word prostitute. I prefer to use the word escort. I guess it sounds classier, but maybe it's because, I see these as women that do what they do because maybe they don't have a choice, but they have to live. But Susan in this movie, of course, played your friend, and she's really ticked off, obviously, when she discovers what Ramrod had done, and some of the stuff that, of course, she's propositioned to try to set up Ramrod, which she does reluctantly. But some of the stuff that she gets into in the movies, like some of the weird characters she runs into, add kind of a little bit of humor to the film. Like the part where Michael Einstein, of course, is this butler or driver, brings her to this old guy who, of course, is in a casket. And that whole thing just backfired.
Yeah, well, there is a touch of camp in that too. It is like a classic cult movie. I mean, it isn't dead serious. It's not. It's there is element, and that is one of them, elements of camp.
Yeah, so she goes into some of these little places like that. Even with Ramrod, as violent as he is, I like that scene where he wants to get the handcuffs sawed off him, and you got that one guy who had just getting tired of him, who sticks that saw up to his throat and says, "Watch it," It's like, yeah, he can't dominate everybody,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, Susan Hubley, of course. Is it Hubley or Hebley? I've heard it pronounced both ways.
I pronounced it Hubley.
Hubley, okay.
That's how I always knew her, Susan Hubley.
Okay.
She and Kurt had a son.
Oh yeah, she did. They did, didn't they?
Yeah, she had a little boy, and he was just a baby when I knew her, named Boston.
Okay. I did not know that.
Yeah. They weren't together anymore when she did the movie, but I know she had the little boy, Boston, and he was young, very young. I don't even remember how old he was, but I would guess not more than a year, maybe two at the tops.
Yeah, and let's face it, she looks stunning in Vice Squad, all classed up, and she played off the leading Ramrod along just perfectly. Do you know how she come about to get that part?
No, just probably the same way, auditions, I don't know.
Okay.
But, that's generally, I don't know if they had her in mind. I never asked her, to be quite honest, how she got the part. I mean, sometimes producers have somebody in mind, when they're casting already, and like maybe they saw her in Escape from New York. I don't really know. But, I know I can specifically say for me and Ramrod and also Gary Swanson,
the director,
who did go on to have a role in a TV series. I don't remember the name of it, but I know that he did go on. He was a really nice guy.
Yeah, Gary Swanson, of course, is the cop.
The cop.
The cop. Yeah, he was the one that was there at the hospital when your character, passes away and propositions Susan Hubley to bring down Ramrod. Now, of course, there's that tense situation. I was listening to a podcast. I think it was Opie and Anthony, but I'm not sure. They were talking about this movie, and they were bursting out laughing over this very violent and intense scene where Ramrod first gets arrested, and he has, he's being frisked and whatnot, and Susan admits that she had set him up, and of course, he's so aggressive, like he's just like a caged animal getting loose, and he knocks the two cops' heads together, grabs her with his arm around her neck, and he takes a stool and starts bashing her in the head with it. And the people, I think it was Opie and Anthony podcast, but don't quote me on it. They thought that was funny, and from a certain standpoint, and I would never recommend the abuse of a woman, but from a certain standpoint, it did kind of have a camp feel to it when that thing was.
Like I said, yeah, there were elements. That's why it kind of was a cult film because of that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I I hope she wasn't being bashed with a real
I
stick.
don't know. I just, I wasn't around for that. I just did my stuff, and you don't usually hang around when you're not working.
Because from a certain angle, it actually does kind of look funny, and it's one of those scenes where you laugh and you don't want to laugh.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, Gary Swanson, of course, playing the cop in it, and Gary Sherman, of course, the director.
Right.
What kind of director was he?
He was fine. I mean, I don't remember having any problems. He was nice to me, and the only thing, on hindsight, like I said, I wonder if he was laughing about having me, audition with the Ramrod wannabes. But yeah, he was fine.
Yeah, even more camp scenes when he grabs the Asian girl and just hauls her into the car, and her feet sticking out, and
Yeah,
stuff like that kind of
funny.
carries on amusingly now.
Yeah.
Beverly Todd, of course, in this as well. Uh, I'm, in hindsight, I don't know whether she was. I think maybe she was the escorts. I think
I don't remember her. I'm sorry. I just
she was the
season really was
yeah.
was the person that I was, because like I said, I wasn't. I died. I was gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gary, Season, and Wings, were the people that I knew on that film, and I didn't know anybody else.
What was it like? You mentioned when you saw it there, and the guy made the comment from behind you. Was that
Yeah.
was that the premiere night?
No, it was just showing in New York, and we went to see it. I think it premiered in L.A.
Did you go to the
But
premiere?
no, I was too busy with MTV.
Okay.
I mean, I just, like I said, that took up everything. I probably was invited to it, but I mean, MTV was, especially, when we were starting, it was an all-consuming job. So I'm sure I was invited to it. I don't even know, my manager might have gone because he was still back in L.A. But I know I didn't. I just went with Vicky, my friend, like I said, the assistant, and we went. We just, had some time, and we went to see it.
Yeah. Before we get to your MTV, I did notice you did have another film credit, Reckless Kelly.
Oh God, I don't even remember. Yeah, that was just a small little thing. I really, once I was done, once I did MTV, I really, because the type of parts all of a sudden that I was being offered, not really what I wanted to do, and I had gotten spoiled in the fact that what we did with MTV was very immediate, very much live all the time, and that suited my personality much better than the waiting around films. And the few things that I did do after MTV, either being TV stuff or little parts here and there, I did not enjoy it at all. I was bored stiff, and I go, what am I doing? I don't even like this, because it really wasn't the type of acting that when I first went into acting that I wanted to do. I mean, even when I got the Vice Squad part, what I was really studying were classic things like Tennessee Williams doing Bernard Shaw. I was doing that kind of stuff. So I wanted more. If I had continued with acting, if the MTV stuff didn't turn up, that's where I was going to go. And then after MTV, I was seen in a certain way, like either a reporter or something like that, and I go, these are stupid parts. It's not even what I want to do. I'm going around to these dumb auditions. I don't even like being on the set. It's boring. Why am I doing it? So that's what happened.
I'm just curious, what were your memories of Yahoo Serious?
Oh, he was a wacky guy.
Yeah,
He was a wacky guy. He was funny.
Yeah, I guess he was the director and star of Reckless
Yeah,
Kelly.
he was just a wacky guy.
Well, you know what?
But nice.
Yeah.
Nice wacky. Not bad wacky. Just pretty much what you saw is what he was.
Well, you know what? MTV, I'm going to tell you, I remember that. As I said, I was born in 1972, so I got great fond memories of the 80s, and I know that you've done like your Absolutely 80s and your Rock Report, and I know you get a fondness for 80s music as well. So, when you went into MTV as a VJ, do you remember what the first video you played?
Oh, of course, everybody knows that. It's Video Killed the Radio Star.
Yeah, and I remember Pat Benatar was the first female artist featured.
Yep, you better run. That was the second video.
I am a big Pat Benatar fan. I
Yeah,
still
she's
love
great.
her. Yeah, I read her book recently, you know, and I grew up with Pat. And I watched Rock of Ages. I went to that 4 times when it was in theater, and it was
Oh, really?
I loved Rock of Ages, and watching Catherine Zeta-Jones do "Hit Me with Your Best Shot."
I love her. I love her. I think she's I think she's gorgeous. She's like classic beauty.
Who, Zeta-Jones or Pat Benatar?
What?
Which one, Pat Benatar?
Oh,
or
Catherine.
Oh, Catherine.
Catherine. Oh, Pat's a great singer. Pat is and the nicest person. The two of them are actually so normal. You know, she and Neil.
Yep.
The normal couple that just happen to be in rock and roll. I mean, none of the drugs and the craziness. Just, you know, just the regular couple, basically. She's a very nice lady. I like her and great singer.
Yep, she brings back a lot of memories. Yeah, especially that early to mid '80s. Like, you know, who were some of the artists that you fancied back at that time?
God, I tend to I wasn't much of a pop person. Like, I wasn't really into pop. I've always been a rocker.
Okay.
So my taste went more to like a Tom Petty,
Okay.
or you know, Bruce Springsteen. U2 I loved. Living Color. You know, that Mellencamp is great. You know, more rock and roll, more rock.
I can agree. I can appreciate that. I agree. Yeah.
Heart. I love Heart. Pretenders. Eurythmics. I love. I think they're fantastic. They're kind of in a category of their own with their own sound. Yeah, so I was more into that. Cyndi Lauper, although she straddled pop, I think Cyndi is an amazing performer, amazing artist.
I love Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah,
I've
she's
got
great.
I've got the She's So Unusual album, both as CD and as an LP.
Wow.
Yeah, and she was also speaking of MTV. She was also credited by Rowdy Roddy Piper as being one of the people that really brought the whole rock and wrestling together, which of course led to WrestleMania in 1985.
Yeah, that really was more her manager's doing. You know, and yeah, that's. I don't think that was really a Cyndi thing. I think she went along with that because her manager at the time was doing that, and you know, she could rise to the occasion. But I just feel I don't know. I never got the feeling that was something that she really loved doing. But you know, she did it.
Well, I know she had Captain Lou Albano playing her dad in a couple of her videos. And I
Right,
think,
right. That's kind of how it started.
Yeah, and so
She was friends with Captain Lou. I mean, she did like him. I mean, and it's not fair. You would have to ask her specifically. And over the years, I never asked her about that because I always viewed it as kind of like a little detour. I didn't really think she needed to do that. I would not if I had been her man. And I love Dave Wolf, who was her manager at the time. Liked him very much. Still like him very much. But I don't know. I wouldn't have taken her in that direction if I were managing her.
Yeah, well, she did appear at WrestleMania 1 in the corner, of course, of
Yeah,
Wendy
I mean it
Richter.
worked for what it is.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. But I gotta say, and of course, Captain Lou just passed away here none too long ago.
Oh, I
So
didn't even know that. There were so many people that died last year. I didn't know that.
yeah, Captain Lou Bano passed away
Oh,
some 5 or so years ago. Very very sad. But I definitely loved Cyndi Lauper and the orange hair and that cheerful flair. She was the girl that just wanted to have fun.
yeah, and very talented, very talented.
And still very talented. So, what were some of your fondest memories of working with MTV?
Well, the launch, the first day was amazing that we went on the air because, of course, cable was in its infancy as well, so it wasn't even in New York. Cable wasn't in New York, where MTV was based out of. So they had to take us all over to see the launch by bus. You know, they leased buses, took us all over to New Jersey to this funky little club, and we all watched the launch. So to me, that was probably the best. I mean, that was just amazing. In that room, you just could not duplicate the feeling. It was like having, this giant baby being born, and you knew once that rocket went off, there was no turning back. It was on. So I'd have to say that was my favorite memory.
Yeah, and I noticed here too when I was taking notes on you that you're involved with Sirius Satellite as well. Now, I have Sirius Satellite radio in my car, and I listen to a lot of Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Have you ever met Howard?
Oh yeah, Howard's great. Yeah, I've known Howard since the '80s. Howard, I think, is one of the best insightful interviewers around. He's a very good interviewer and a very intelligent man. And of course, he and his wife Beth, both huge animal rights people, and
let's
animal
plug
rescue.
let's plug the North Shore Animal League
Yeah,
because that is
absolutely. So
yes.
Howard's great. I love Howard as a person. I'm not talking about the character on air. I'm talking about him as a human being. I find him very cool and just smart. And he could see through BS like nobody's business. So I've always been fond of Howard.
Yeah, he and Beth launched, of course, the North Shore Animal League, and I ordered the calendar he did of his wife. Beth is gorgeous. In fact, here's a little tidbit. Beth is actually exactly 1 week younger than I am. 7 days younger than me.
That's funny.
Yep. But yeah, he did this calendar of her, and all the proceeds went to the North Shore Animal League.
Yeah.
And I got to say, Howard is a tremendous photographer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. The pictures he took of her, the way he had her positioned and the colors and the background. Howard does not get enough credit for the things he does off the air, like
No, I
yeah.
agree with you.
Yep, and of course all these strange characters he brings on the air. Of course, Bubba Booey,
Yeah, well, that's actually his producer.
Gary Dell'Abate. Yep.
Yeah. And I don't mean to rush, but I only have about 5 more minutes.
That's okay. We're going to wrap up here shortly, but yeah, that he is involved with the whole North Shore. Have you been on his show before?
Oh yeah, sure.
I should look that up because that's something
Yeah.
I did not know.
Yeah, the last time, actually, all of us were on his show together was, I think, about 3 years ago when our book came out.
That's right. You guys did have a book come out. I
Yeah,
knew about
yeah.
that too, and yet it just didn't hit me till now.
Yeah. Yep, VJ.
And how
Easy to
there was
remember.
there was a bunch
so
of you
that's the
that
last
in that.
time I was on Howard's show. All 4 of us were on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? It was fantastic having you come on here and share the 35th anniversary of Vice Squad.
I
And
know, that's so funny. I never even would have thought of that. That's hysterical. But well, thank you.
yeah, I was just wondering if before you go, if you would do a plug for my show.
Sure.
Yeah, just state your name and my name's Greg Gilbert, obviously, and my show's called Python's Paradise, and I'm from
Oh
New.
wait, what is it? Python of Paradise?
Yeah, Python's Paradise.
Oh, Python's Paradise. Wait, let me write that down.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm from New Brunswick, Canada, obviously, Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. Have you ever been up this way?
Not New Brunswick. I have not. I have been. I love Toronto very much, and I've been to Vancouver, which I loved, and very quickly in Calgary. But I couldn't tell you anything about it because it was like in and out doing a thing for MTV. So, but you know, I actually have been talking a lot about this, and I think this summer I'm going to take a little trip up, especially with the state that this country is in, which is horrendous, as you well know.
Yeah.
It's just beyond belief that it's a tragedy what's happening.
It is. Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's just I knew if that idiot, you know, got in, he would be bad. But even I had no clue just how bad. It's terrible.
Yeah.
We're all very, very, well, I can't say all of us. I mean, his clueless supporters who it's like, where's your brain?
Yeah.
You know, so anyway, long story short, I am planning a trip to Canada, just, you know, because I loved it, and I love the people up there, and I have Facebook friends on, you know, that are in Canada that are going, what's happening to your poor country? You know, I know. You know, so I do love Canada, and it's a beautiful place.
You
so
really.
I will probably come up and visit. I don't know if I'll get to New Brunswick, but you never know.
I just
I got
questioned.
your information, so I may. You might just find a VJ on your doorstep.
Oh, I would love that. I think that would be awesome.
All right. So, what did you want me to do? You're listening to Gary Gilbert.
It's Greg, Greg.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know, we were saying, I knew that. You know, we talking about the two Garys, Gary Swanson and the director. Sorry, I didn't know it was Greg. I'm so sorry. So, Greg Gilbert.
Yeah, and the show's Python's Paradise, and the place is Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada.
Wait, New Fredericton?
Yeah, New Fredericton is a city. New Brunswick is the province, and of course,
just Fredericton.
Yeah,
is it Fredericton?
Fredericton,
T-O-N, right?
In Canada. Yep.
New Brunswick.
All
right.
I was going to say our closest celebrities are probably the Trailer Park Boys. Are you familiar with them?
No. Sorry.
Ivan Reitman produced their first film, so they're yeah.
No, well, let me do this.
Okay.
For you. 3, 2, 1. Hi, this is Nina Blackwood, and you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise, Fredericton, New Brunswick.
Yes. Well, folks, that just wraps it up here. I got to say, Nina, thank you so much for coming on here. It's been a real blessing, and I got to say, God bless you.
Well, thank you, and thanks for recognizing Vice Squad. That's funny. Thank you so much, and say hello to your lovely, sane country up there.
Absolutely.
We have president envy. Many of us. We look and go, Justin, can't you save us? Can't you adopt us? Seriously.
Well, I thought all of you were going to come to Canada. I heard we have lots of room here.
Oh, well, you know that you know, when he got elected, the Canadian site crashed.
I didn't know that.
On the internet. That people go for their paperwork to get into Canada. It crashed. That many people.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's not funny. It's terrible. Actually, it's we all are going like, how could this even happen? In this country. I mean, you have this guy that is really him and his minions. Bannon. I don't know if you know about Bannon, but read about that guy if you want to be like creeped out. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And destroying the country from the inside. It's like ISIS is not our enemy. They are. That's what's so scary.
Well,
it's terrible.
Well, Canada opens its doors and its heart to you, Nina.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you so much. We need that. And even offending you guys. I mean, he's offended everybody. It's terrible. We all want to go like, it's not us. We're sorry. It's not us. Not good.
He'll be the
Hopefully
butt.
He'll get thrown out soon. That's what we're all hoping for.
Well, he's been the butt of so many jokes.
Well, it's ludicrous. But anyway, I do have to run, and I could talk on and on and on because it's taken over our lives down here.
Yeah.
How horrible. I mean, it's our country, for crying out loud. Hard to put it out of your mind.
And we thought Ramrod was bad, huh?
Oh, really? I know. That's funny. All right. Well, thank you again very much. And you know how to get a hold of me. And for the picture, just, go on my webpage. And my manager is named Anthony, but you'll see it on there. You'll see a contact for him.
Okay.
And you could tell him, we spoke and blah, 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 and, that you need a photo. He's got all that stuff.
Is there a way, too, I can get an autograph picture?
Let's see. Let me. All right. What's your address?
I'll have to pause this for...
Send it through Facebook.
I'll send you a message on Facebook. I'll send you my address because I would love to get an autograph of you.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Thanks a lot, and continued good luck with you. Now you're on number 91.
Yeah. Well, you're number 90, going to 91. God bless you, Nina, and
Thanks,
thank you for the memories.
Okay. Thank